Hi, Ryan. So this is the fifth month for my AI entrepreneurship journey, and I would say this month is actually the worst month that I've actually experienced so far. So, just a quick summary and a quick reflection. Last month, I set two goals that I want to achieve this month, which is I want to close one deal for my internship, which I actually did. I closed three deals this month. And the second goal, which is got to do with the AI aspect, which is to do an AI automation project, which I really feel that I can do it. But unfortunately, this month I did not do it. So let me explain further. So for this month, I solely focus on the internship that I'm doing right now. Basically, I'm a salesman for a digital marketing agency, and I'm trying to sell these services to other companies. And one main medium that I've been using is called cold calling. And actually, cold calling is really, in my opinion, one of the worst jobs to ever have as a person. This month, I actually called uh, almost close to 900 people. So in total, for this past 2 months working in this company, I've called around 1.5k companies, and I only have a success rate of around 1.3%. So in total, I actually got around 21 appointments based on this cold calling method. But not just cold calling, these 21 appointments also include cold emails, which is around 4 to 5 of these appointments. So in reality, 1%, that's literally what I've achieved through cold calling. And I definitely feel it is not the best method for getting leads, outbound leads, which I explain further later. I feel cold calling, not only is it just not a very effective strategy, but it also depends on the culture, the different countries. Perhaps in other countries it may be better, but in Singapore especially, it is a struggle because one, there's a lot of skepticism from a random call from a stranger. Like I myself, if I got a call from a random number, I wouldn't pick it up. Or even if I pick it up, I would assume that it's a scam and I'll hang up immediately. So this is something that I really cannot change because it's something embedded in our minds as Singaporeans. We are very skeptical. So because of that, there's a lot of very negative interactions with the potential clients or the leads. And the rejection, even though I myself, I believe that I can handle a lot of rejection, and technically I already handled almost 1000 plus rejections so far these past 2 months from cold calls. It is still a struggle. It's still a very big struggle for me. It does take a toll on me mentally. I will admit that as much as I try to forget about it, there are some cases where I will be forever embedded in my mind because it's the stories that I tell to my friends and to my family that in reality people are not as nice as you think. Singapore is definitely not a very happy place to be calling. And I accept that. I accept that is that's the reality of this situation. It's a cold world out there. It's a tough world, and we definitely it definitely is a challenge for me. And okay, putting cold call aside, I'll talk about the appointments. The appointments itself, I usually go out with my manager and my boss who guide me through the sales process, and really I try to learn as much from them. And in reality, I do learn a lot, especially in terms of my presentation skills. I know that presentation is not just you presenting like a school project, like you're very excited, like, hey, so today we are gonna present to you. It's not really like that in an appointment meeting. It's more of a conversation. Is to tell and inform the client that this is who we are and this is how we can help you. So that's something that I can learn. I've been learning to try to change my tone in a way that, although I myself, as you can hear, is I'm quite a monotone kind of guy. I don't have so much energy to really express myself, as I myself is quite an introvert. But I do learn how to converse in a way that I feel is still applicable and effective in terms of engaging the client. One way is to keep having an emphasis on the connection between how we can apply the strategy to the clients. So let's say it is like a sports gym. I would say that this campaign can help you get more signups to your gym membership. Like you have this period where you have a discount because I do some research on them and I can see that from their expression, they feel like a link to what I'm trying to say, and they actually truly appreciate that I did take the time to research about their company. So that's something that I've learned. But I still do get nervous at times when interacting with these clients, but it does takes time. I may get tense up at times, and perhaps at times I also don't know what to say. So that's why I'm quite fortunate to have my manager and my boss with me to help close these deals. And these deals, the 3 deals that I've closed are grants. If you didn't know, Singapore have a lot of grants for all these SMEs, but it's a good and bad situation. Arise because of these grants. I was thinking, how do we close them without the grant? Because of these grants and this financial aid given by the government, perhaps Singapore becoming less risk taking. We perhaps may, with a lack of a better word, get pampered by the government, and we don't really take the risk involved in, for example, my service, which is digital marketing. But that is just my thoughts, my 10 cents thoughts on this situation. And I can kind of break it down the whole sales process from what I learned from my boss mainly, which is firstly is to understand the situation, understand why the problems, understand what struggles they are facing, perhaps in terms of lead generation, perhaps in terms of their current digital marketing strategy is not effective, or they spend too much money and don't see results. We try to empathize and understand, which is what my boss came out with called ART, A-R-T, accept, relate, and turnover. So this is just a strategy that I learned from this internship. And after you understand, you try to take control of the situation to be more of a consultant, more of actually trying to help the client to think of their business process and their business strategy. Like this month, what are you gonna do? Perhaps we can do this strategy the next stage in their business quarter. And I realized this is how a salesman should really convey the message and persuade these clients in order to close the deal, because once you actually generally help the client to think through a process, because I realize a lot of these clients don't have like a marketing objective in mind and what they really want to achieve. So what I learned is that it's not about what the client wants, but it's more about what the client needs, and perhaps the needs that they have is not aligned with their wants. So but you don't have to belittle them. You don't have to say that they are not thinking of what they need, but it's more about educating them about how this kind of services could benefit them in the future, in the long run, and help their business grow. So that is what I've learned. And as finally at the end, it's called the sense of urgency, where you ask them, so when would you like to start? Is there like a time frame you want to begin this? So usually with the grants, it takes a while for the grant application process, and we use this by saying, why don't you just apply for the grants first and see how it goes? So that's how we usually close the clients, and I feel it's quite an effective way. Perhaps in the future I can learn somewhat. Perhaps it's not grants, but I can think of a way to create a sense of urgency for them in order to close the deals for my future ventures. And something that I learned is I realized I would be I would say that my skills so far, not only just in this internship, but also before that when I was doing my previous like co-living project, I'm more of a lead generation specialist. I help people get leads, regardless of whether it was the co-living project that I did many months back, or is it the property idea that I have. And even right now as an intern, I'm technically generating leads for my company through the outbound method. So there's two methods that you can get leads. One is inbound. Inbound is through, let's say people make an inquiry to you through your website, through your advertisement, or through word of mouth, which is one way of getting people to make an inquiry to you and setting an appointment for both parties. Second method is outbound. Outbound is more of you try to reach out to these kind of potential leads, potential clients, so that you can set the appointments for them. And this is true mainly like cold call, which I'm doing, cold email as well, which I'm doing, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, all these channels. And I feel there's a lot of potential in this, especially in terms of automation, which I'll get into later. So now moving on to the projects that I made. Like what I said, I did not follow my original goal, which is to create my AI automation project. The reason is I realized, and I also haven't been really consistently reading my books that I wanted to read. This month I'm supposed to read the Never Split the Difference, which is a negotiation book, which I learned quite a bit from it so far, but I haven't been reading that consistently. And I'll just mainly focus on the struggles that I face. I realize working in a few months in this job is definitely a struggle. I realize there's a big difference between the drive factor, because I realized this past few months I have been losing my drive, I've been losing my discipline, to be very frank. And perhaps it sounds like an excuse, but I would say that it's really something that I'm struggling with, because one is the fatigue. I feel there's a lot of build-up fatigue, especially when you do something like cold calling, because the negativity from the rejections and the tone of which they reject you is very sticky. It really sticks onto the person regardless of how strong you are. And because of that, I realized I tried to cope with all this negativity and stress through temporary satisfaction or self-relievers. For example, I usually try to start watching anime again and using my phone and play and watch videos. Is I also go out with my friends to hang out and enjoy myself, which is nothing wrong. Most people do it anyways, especially my age. But I realize it takes a lot of my time away as well. Usually, I remember before I started working in this job, I had so much drive. I wake up 6 a.m. in the morning. I work 12 hours a day until 10 p.m. I could cook my own meals, go gym consistently, still have the energy to work and learn. But for this job, I realized I've been losing this sense of drive and discipline that I originally have. I'm pretty sure you can see from my first video where I feel that was my peak motivation and discipline, where I really wanted to achieve something great for myself. And that's what I realized about myself is I very motivated doing things that I want to achieve, not really when someone set, like, for example, a KPI for me, because that is very hard for me to get my head around and be motivated from this kind of false sense of achievement, in my opinion. It's not to belittle any 9 to 5, 9 to 6 employee, but I just feel that this is like my golden time right now. From now until before uni is the time where a lot of my friends are enjoying themselves, or perhaps they are grinding by making a lot of money through the typical tuition or other kind of jobs that they decide to take up. But it's not really an ego thing, but I just feel that this kind of jobs does not really maximize my learning curve, the amount of things that I can learn in order, which is applicable for my future, especially if I want to be an entrepreneur. And I feel that it is a challenge. I really want to work on my side hustles, but I realize it's very difficult to work on a side hustle while doing a 9 to 6, 9 to 5 job, if despite all the social media saying that you can just work on your job first and at night grind, work on yourself, on your side hustles, and this will be a domino effect. will compound, and in the end, you boom, you start a business right there. But in reality, it is tough. It's really tough. This may sound like an excuse, but I've been trying and trying and trying, but it is something that I'm really struggling with, to be very frank. And I was thinking, if I can't even sustain myself in a 9 to 6 job, how am I expected to start a business by myself when the business is not 9 to 6, it's every day, 24/7, 24 hours a day. But that's where I also think that perhaps it's not just because of the time or the effort, it's more of the drive factor and the ambition. Because as an employee, definitely you don't have as much ambition or responsibility as the business owner, because the business owner is do or die. This is what he or she wants to do. But for employer, I'm just working for the wage. I'm just working for the 9 to 6, and I can just go back after that with zero responsibilities. I think that's where it really takes the drive out of me. So I've been actually contemplating, perhaps I should take this time to do my own stuff instead. I definitely have a lot of things to learn. I wouldn't say I'm a master of everything. I wouldn't say that I've maximized everything that I could possibly learn in this internship, but I'll say that it does take a toll on me mentally, and I should really do something about it. So that's why perhaps these few months I may consider pivoting. Perhaps I just focus 100% on doing my projects and coming out with this AI automation that I really, really believe that has a potential, because not only does I feel lead generation just comes naturally to me. Lead generation is one of the most important aspects of sales. So it's definitely a gap that I'm experiencing right now. Even a pain point as I myself as a telemarketer, cold caller, I really don't want to do this. I really, really don't want to do cold calling. And it takes a lot of my time and mental away from me. So I feel that with this kind of pain factor and the experience that I learned so far, I really feel there's potential in me creating something to do with AI automation. And perhaps in LinkedIn as well. In LinkedIn, you can see there's a few people doing this kind of lead generation, giving free leads, and people commenting to get the free leads. Perhaps there's a strategy that I want to partake in. So yeah, this is some of my thoughts that I have for this month. Definitely not a very good month, but that's the beauty of this kind of journey, the struggles. Initially, I struggled. I remember in the first few episodes, the first few videos that I made, it's got to do with like loneliness and solitude. Now is another new challenge, a new struggle, which is the balancing between working at 9 to 6 and working on your side hustles. And I realize I myself can't multitask, or don't have the brain space to think of multiple things at once. I'm more of a person who can focus on one thing and do that one thing well. So that's what I decide to do. So yeah, let's see how it goes for the next few months. So I would say that actually this month I'm not really an AI entrepreneur, because I didn't work on any AI projects. So I'm actually making a big contradiction of myself. So I think I really have to change that. These are some of my thoughts for this month. Definitely get better, get stronger, pivot my plan, have a clear direction, and just stick to it. So yeah, see you for the next video, which is next month.